It's been a while since I've made a meaningful analysis on Bitcoin, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that price hasn't moved as much since the last couple of videos that I made. And if you remember, I did mention how rather than me creating a video mentioning the same thing again and again, which is a pattern that I've actually noticed, as I'm personally a short-term to swing trader rather than a day trader, so things will pretty much remain the same. Something that I have reiterated a lot of times in my videos was the fact that as long as longs were potentially something that I was looking in only if. So the reason why longs were taken into consideration in the first place was the fact that price was coming off a very good level of support and resistance at around 60,000, and you can see how historically price respected that pretty well back into 2021 to then retest it again into 2024, and it's sitting at the same region. However, I did mention that that idea would only be taken fully into consideration upon the structural swing high onto the daily time frame being violated, which comes around 66,000, which we did not have. We spiked into it beautifully, came back straight in within the next 2 days, and we traded underneath 66 ever since then. Price found really good level, very good support and resistance at around 64 and 62,000, which is a reason why price is pretty much at this point moving in in a sideway in a range bound market environment, right? So a reason why there wasn't much to talk about on Bitcoin in the first place. But if we do go in and zoom in a bit of details, what we had was price stabbing through the 64,000 with a really great bearish engulfing, followed up with a deep retracement back into the structural swing highs at the time with a really good period of consolidation which lasted a couple of days. So you can see how we created the high and the low of the day on Wednesday, followed up with none of the high or low being taken out for several days up until all the way till this week on Tuesday, which was followed up with another push back into the range to mitigate, to retest the consolidation, followed up with momentum to the downside. Something that's catching my eyes at the moment is how on the way down, price is kind of losing its momentum. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, as I already mentioned, 62,000 is another level where there has been a lot of orders that took place back to the upside, pushing price back to the upside again and again and again. So, and that goes all the way back from July, start of July. So push, 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 push again. And what do you think is going to happen? And um, I'm just mentioning that because from a retail standpoint, there's going to be a lot of people buying from this region just from the pure fact that price has reacted several times before. So as a level of support and resistance back to the upside with the stop loss being below these lows, which is nothing but creating a lot of liquidity below these lows. So when price, and it will, take out 62,000, it will take it out with a really good fucking momentum. Therefore, our downside price projections remains valid. So price has been moving slowly but surely in our favorite direction. If you are not in a trade yet, I will recommend not to get involved as of yet, as price is pretty much setting the previous lows. Plus, it is Saturday at the time of recording. We got weekend, Monday, and then Tuesday back onto the charts. Shifting our focus on the monthly time frame before I close this video up is something I really want you to pay attention to is the overall expectation, which are very likely to change as 2027 is approaching, which is a very meaningful time for a lot of instruments as they are, at least the ones that I am trading, will very likely shift from a macro perspective from 2027 onwards. Something that you can historically see is that every single bull run that took place started in January every single fucking time. So back in 2019, a bull run took place that lasted over 2 years. The same thing happened again upon the pullback. When did price shift bullish again? Look at the January close, bullish engulfing, beautiful, which lasted another, what, 2023 to 2025, 2 years before price provided. And it's currently into a really deep retracement, which again, time theory was another concept that I really had at the back of my mind when I did mention to you lot that longs could be valid if we do take that out. And the reason why I wasn't too confident about price breaking, so I knew that I had to hold because of time theory. But again, trading is not about being right, but being flexible at times. Is that you do want to make sure to take into consider certain variables at certain times and adjust your trading approach from being aggressive to conservative and vice versa when conditions changes or are very much iffy, if you will, right? Sometimes you may have two opposing bias that could be valid at the same time, but you do want to have rules in place to validate or invalidate one another. So for me, as we still have pretty much half of Q3 and the entirety of Q4 of 2026, I do think price will have one and final leg back to the downside into 45 to 31, right? So as soon as the level is mitigated, that's when I'm stopping to trade Bitcoin fully and entirely, right? Just because it's a region of pretty much 10,000, more than 10,000 pips, it doesn't mean that you're just gonna have intraday buys and longs. At least that's not how I trade. I rather focus on other pairs that are beautifully aligned and are providing far higher probability setups than trying to, fit in with quick trades in and out at a region where I am expecting a macro shift to take place. So definitely, if you are still considering shorts, it is pretty much the last quarter before we could see price shifting back to the upside with a target projection of overall 140 to 160. But in the meanwhile, I am short into the region, which, as already mentioned, will take place, the mitigation will take place into Q4 of 2026 into 2027. So do watch that out. And apart from that, guys, shorts are still valid. That does not mean that you take a short from here all the way till 45,000. Rather, position yourself strategically to catch portions of the move on the way to our overall target projection. But in the meanwhile, I will keep you updated and I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a great day. Happy trading, happy life, and I will see you in the next one.